Topic of today's video is my container cages, and I started out originally to grow tomatoes primarily to do wrapping, but I've found that these things are extremely useful in many different ways. So all I did is I bought a 50-foot roll. I think I might have bought two 50-foot rolls actually of this hog wire, and I think it's about 2 by 4 inch holes on these things, and then I cut them. I cut out one area here and I bent them back. Basically I just took the little plus out right here and then I bent them back all the way so they don't cut your hands when you're reaching in, and I put it in 2 different places. That way when it sits on the container I can reach in and do whatever I need to do. But those were the cages. I wrapped them around one of the containers to get about the right size, and then once I did it one time, then all I had to do is count the number of squares, and it fit every cage, every container every time perfectly. You can see there that the cage, there's no lips on this particular container, but even if there is, you can just undo where it fastens together. So this slides up and down. It's fairly tight, but it still slides up and down, and it provides a great support for a number of different vegetables. And with vining type crops, I do the wrapping technique. There's a couple videos on that, tomato wrapping, and you can see here I've taken this tomato and I've wrapped it around. It's probably coming up on its 3rd time going around, and each wrap is 3 feet. So in essence, this cherry tomato has been wrapped around 9 to 10 feet now, so that's actually how tall it is. And when you wrap it, the fruit just kind of hangs near the cage, and it looks really neat. Here in this particular one, you can see that the same exact thing done with the cage, and this one has got Sweet Success cucumbers. It's a Parthenon carpet cucumber, and I've wrapped this around as well, and it's doing real great. I'm really pleased with it. You can see here's the termination point, and with this one, I'm just, because this is so flexible, I'm just wrapping it in between. Every day I'll just put it between 2 different new ones, and it'll just continue to go around. You can see here I've also got a butternut squash, believe it or not, and it is wrapping around the cage, as you can see here. There's a baby. And yeah, so I'm going to grow butternut squash wrapped around the cage. First time doing that. Here are 2 potatoes side by side, and you can see this one I'm having to kind of control it by wrapping. But when it's caged, it contains the growth. So that's another method of using the cage, is just to control the growth, and you can let some of them, peek out if they need to, have a little bit extra room. But one of my most favorite ways to grow things, this thing to contain, is peas. Let me show you me planting some up, and then I'll probably go back in time and pick a video and show you what the growth looks like of that very same pea. So here are the dried pods from the Oregon Sugar Pod 2, and I'm going to simply, they're nice and crispy now. I'm simply going to take the seeds out, and they're ready to go for planting. And there's the Take 852 seed. So I'm in my climate controlled greenhouse right now, and I try to keep the temperature in here no hotter than 82, and if it got colder, the heater come on no colder than 50 degrees at night. But anyway, this is more or less a breeding room, but I also can use this as climate control for growing vegetables that don't do well in the heat, like peas. So I'm going to plant some peas. Now, I recently did a video on saving pea seeds, and these are those exact same peas that I just finished saving, and so I'm going to plant those in this container, and I'm going to do that for you. I pulled 20 peas out of the where I saved them from, the bag I saved them in. And what I did first is I laid them more or less evenly all the way around the outer edge, and that's because the cage is close to the outer edge. So now I've planted 20. That's a bit dense, but that's in case I have some germination issues. And all I'm going to do is just push them down a little bit with my finger, just like this, all the way around. And then doesn't matter if I get two in the same place or close by. And then I'm going to cover the peas up in a very unique way with my fans, my hands here. And I'm going to just shake the pot to settle it. Okay, so that's it. That's planted. That's all that needs to be done. So I've got some parboiled rice hulls I'm just going to put over the top as kind of a mulch. That'll just keep things nice and moist. Just like so. And now I'm just going to slip the cage on. Very easy to do. Now that the cage is on, I oriented the holes towards me so I can reach in there if needed. And then lastly, I just pulled the hydroponic PVC watering system tube through and set it in the middle of the pot. That way it'll wick out to the edges and everything will get the nutrient it needs, and then the plants will grow up the cage. Now I'm going to take you back in time and show you what one of these cages looks like with fully grown peas, these exact same peas. Now look at all the peas on this bad boy now. The Oregon sugar pods are a wonderful, wonderful pea. They taste really good, and they don't appear to grow nearly as aggressively as the sugar snaps, which you can see are way up there. And so I'm probably going to go with Oregon sugar pods because they stay more in a contained environment. It's a little easier to grow these in the FAWN system. There you have it. This is Brent, guys. We'll see you later. Looks like we got really good germination. If it's not 100% germination, it's pretty darn close. And the grow begins.